Welcome to Access a Trader, the #1 community for high-level traders to learn valuable trends and strategies, connect with other top traders, and become consistently profitable. Click the link in the description of this video to receive a special offer on our revolutionary PS60 training, access to our daily chat room filled with experienced traders, and so much more. Space is limited, so make sure you don't miss out. We look forward to seeing you in the room.
Hey guys, good morning everybody, and welcome to another edition of the AccessATrader.com weekend wrap-up show. Hope everybody is having a wonderful, relaxing Labor Day weekend. These 3-day weekends are just absolutely awesome. Again, as traders, and I don't care what your level of experience is, you could be trading for 19 minutes, you could be trading for 19 years. We always need that extra rest. We really do. We put so much and invest so much into mental capital. No matter what your strategy is, it really takes a lot out of us. And the only people who understand what we go through is other traders. Again, our families, our friends, our spouses, our dogs, they don't care about what we do. It's either you do it or you don't do it. So it's so necessary to kind of take a step back, relax, just enjoy life, and just really take it easy so you can start fresh for the next day. So hopefully you guys are doing well. Hopefully everybody has had a really terrific summer of trading. I'll be honest with you, this has probably been one of the most aggressive, individualized, specific summers that I can remember. Very, very good action, especially in the high beta space. You have stocks that did very, very well this summer. I mean, really, really well. You had your Amazons, and now you're really starting to see the really aggressive targets: 2,500, 3,000. Apple, again, when people say Apple stopped with an innovation, as soon as Tim Cook started. Well, I mean, look at the stock. They're hoarding trillions of dollars. It feels like they're hoarding $250 billion worth of cash. And again, as the old saying goes, cash is king, right? Cash is king. And obviously, so is the stock price. But the most important part of what we're seeing this summer is the complete, really, really complete detachment of what headlines are saying, what indexes are doing, and what your really specific strategy is really speaking to you. And this summer, and just like throughout the last 6-7 months, we've seen the headlines being ignored. The whole Trump versus China, Trump versus Canada, Trump versus Mexico, and on and on and on. And every single headline initially gets sold off, and the next thing you know, a day and a half later, we're back to 52-week highs. So that's super, super bullish. The telltale sign is going to be in the fourth quarter. Again, because most of us, well, not most of us, but because so many people in the financial aspect of the world live in the Northeast, a lot of people have been gone for summer. They haven't been maintaining a very, very active stance in the markets, but the market's been holding up very, very well through negative headlines. And we'll really see the true nature of the market somewhere within the next week or so, when people start coming back from vacation. Okay, kids go back to school, and again, if you live in the Northeast like I do, I live in New Jersey, you know what winter's going to bring. So the true nature of volume, okay, is going to come back within the next week or so, week and a half or so. And the most important part is the question that we all need to know, or all like to know, is what's going to happen when all the active market participants are there? Are these headlines going to be consistently being engulfed, embraced, and move forward? Or is there enough money, right? Is there enough money that'll take the other side of that trade and start pushing equity prices lower? Okay, the old structure of the market: summer is slow, that's thrown away. Sell in May. Really, if you sold in May, look how much action you really missed. Just look at the NASDAQ 100. Again, you can't argue with the scoreboard. I don't care how the scoreboard got there. You can't argue with the scoreboard. If you sold in May, right? If you sold in May and you went away, right? Where stone throws a wave. Again, consistent all-time highs. NASDAQ 8,000, right? NASDAQ Composite 8,000. And again, the biggest myth of all trading is summer is slow. Summer is terrible, and especially Fridays, right? Fridays, who's going to trade on Friday? We've seen now for the last 2.5 months that Fridays, again, have been just the most amazingly, surprisingly aggressive days of the week. And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the specific pivots on Friday. There weren't many, but the ones that went, they really, went very, very aggressively. Quick announcement really quickly. First of all, last time, and again, I want to welcome all you folks who are joining us via YouTube, Facebook, or our friends at Twitter, or our friends at StockTwits that just get this weekend update. I want to once again thank you very much for everybody who came out and got really great value for the PS60 workshop. We did it the previous Saturday. It was August 25th. August the 25th. It ran about 4 hours. We got amazing content. And there's something that I tweeted out yesterday and said, if you're right now, I don't care what process you're trading. If you're trading and you're hitting consistently on literally half of your entries, right? Half of your entries. Again, you don't need to go back to the drawing board. Okay, you really don't. You don't need to go back to the drawing board. I say this all the time, especially in the live webinar, that life is all about adjustments, right? Life is about adjustments. Trading is about adjustments as well. So if you are batting 50% of all your entries, all you need to do is tweak something, right? And the fact that so many traders, the only thing they're exposed to is what social media is telling you is normal. Trading on the 1 minute cycle, trading on the 5 minute cycle. I bet you, okay, and again, if I'm wrong, you tell me I'm wrong. I bet you if you take whatever interval you're trading, okay, and expand it to the 60-minute channel, which a lot of people are starting to really understand and embrace this, instead of trading a 1 minute cycle, I bet you your results, if you're hitting 50% now in a 1 minute interval, I bet you your results will really surprise you if you switch it to the 60-minute view. Again, what does that do? It eliminates ridiculous amount of noise, okay? Retail is probably not going to be present at the meat of the trade, right? Not at the top of the channels, not at the bottom, but at the meat of the trade, what we call the sneaky candle. What's that going to also do is eliminate any emotional risk that you have. It's going to stop with the FOMO because, again, you know where the entries are. You know an hour prior to where the candle needs to be confirmed. And the most important part is you're going to be calm, okay? You're going to be calm. You're going to be under control. And I bet you if you switch to the 60-minute interval, okay, you'll start seeing some amazing response to your profit and loss. Amazing response because, again, the bigger time frame. Again, people always say, what's the difference between investors and traders? Traders trade on a smaller time frame. But if you're a professional trader and you're trading a smaller time frame, why not expand it? There are options to expand it. And I guarantee you, if you expand to the 60-minute interval, you're going to really be pleasantly surprised of your ability to increase your profit levels. For those of you guys, again, who came out, thank you very, very much. We do have the recording now available to the general public. It'll probably be in the link here. But it's amazing content, nearly 4 hours. We cover everything from nut to bolt. If you want to take advantage of that, guys, it's a perfect time this weekend to kind of get your foundation, see exactly how we trade within these 60-minute channels, confirm on the 5-minute channels, have a really good micro approach in a macro bubble. So it's an incredibly good way that nobody trades except us, and nobody on the planet trades except us. Like I've been saying this for years. You can go on YouTube or anywhere else and get any free content possible. You'll never get this. You'll never get this because we are the only people who trade in this matter, literally on the whole planet. So if you want to check it out, it's actually pretty cool. And like I said, if it wasn't me, and I consider myself the king of the idiots, if it wasn't me who invented it, I would say this is pure genius, but I invented it, so I'm an idiot. So again, take that for what it's worth. So let's talk about the markets, guys. Again, 2% rise in the NASDAQ 100, nearly a percent rise in the S&P, nearly a percent rise in the Dow. Good action everywhere. Again, QQQs speaking for themselves. You have the SMHs, again, just very, very strong. SMHs, when they go on their runs, you can see here, when they start forming a channel, they go on a big, big run. And you can see here how it's just hugging the 5 minutes, hugging the 5-minute rising support. So the SMH has been really, really good. If you look at the biotechs, again, just really very, very aggressive. The Dow Jones, obviously, a couple of days away from moving from all-time highs again. So the market very, very strong. You have names again going nuts. Amazon in the tech space. Square has just been off the charts. I mean, absolutely off the charts. NVIDIA, again, NVIDIA is just amazing, just an amazing move. And then you have the Tesla saga, right? You have the Tesla saga. And Tesla has, again, everybody who's been following me for a long time, you kind of know my whole stance on Tesla. When they came out with the whole, when Musk came out with the whole, 420 taking it private, and I said right away in that video, I didn't expect them to go private. And if it did, I didn't expect it for a very long time. And by the way, I still made that stance as, and nothing's going to be said and done until the Security Exchange Commission, and they haven't really sunk their teeth into it yet, announce any formal investigation. Is going to, again, I could see civil charges being drawn out by investors, because again, if you're buying stock at 380 and then the stock goes to 300 in 2 weeks, because oh, by the way, there's no private going in sight. Again, there's murmurs, but there's really nothing there. We talked about this for weeks. I didn't expect anything to be there. And the longer it went on with the whole funding secured and they couldn't provide details, you knew this was going to be a problem. And Tesla played out that way. Tesla played out that way perfectly. This past week gave us really great trades, really great trade. The big trade on Tesla was Wednesday into Thursday session. There was a short below this 308 level that we talked about, broke down, did very well. Our lowest cover was 299s. That was the lowest cover. So really good move. But again, it really does show you how specific in nature the market is. And again, if you're a new trader in this market, yes, of course, you want to know what the index is doing. You want to identify market sentiment. You have to know the way the wind is blowing. You have to have an opinion. But again, at the end of the day, your specific opinion based on the global universe that is in your realm, right? Not in the market. Again, pot stocks going crazy. Don't care. I don't trade the pot stocks. You have crypto at one point going crazy. I don't care. I don't trade crypto. So it's very important when you're a new aspiring trader to fall into your comfort zone, not my comfort zone, not somebody else's comfort zone. Fall into your comfort zone and trade the stocks. Follow the stocks that you can identify as proper reward, but also have the necessary risk to have a viable bet without closing the doors if you're wrong. So it's very important not to go for that Hail Mary every single trade. It's all about base hits, walks, manufacture runs, doubles, and eventually you will hit a home run. But again, that's going to come organically. If you look at the whole week, really good week of trading. Friday, it was the last day before the 3-day weekend. So again, you saw in the live webinar, a lot of people took the day off, or at least traded a short session. And again, I say this all the time. It's not about how many trades you take. It's about how many trades you take properly. So let's look at Friday session. Again, not many trades, but again, you don't need many, right? You don't need the many. So we talked about this pre-market. I put this into our live Twitter feed, the private Twitter feed. And I said, hey, look, 927 right before the market opened up. Netflix, 371.50 build is important. Now, why was 371 build important? The previous day, if you guys remember, we caught that 367 break and went to 376, just an absolute monster move. If you look at the 60-minute channel from Friday's session, right? Here was what we were talking about, right? Here is the candle we were talking about. If you look at it right here, it's 371.39. So we just kind of rounded off the 371.50. And again, if you believe that stocks trade from supply to supply and demand to demand, what we covered in nausea in almost the 4 hours of content in the PS60 workshop, then you understand your profit potential, right? So it broke. It really broke very aggressively, and it took out that 371.39 level, 371.50 level, and on one candle it went to 376. Just an absolute monster move. Congratulations for all you guys who caught that trade. Just a sick move on Friday. Congrats, guys. Big move. Next one we talked about, again, this is all pre-market, guys. This is before 9:27 Eastern time. This is before the market opened up. Lululemon, 153 pre-market highs, good earnings, needs to build. Now again, why was 33 a big spot, right? Why was 33 a big spot? Again, here's the area of interest, right? Here's the area of interest. Gapped up pre-market and gapped up pre-market. Gapped up after hours, made its move, gapped up pre-market to this 153 level right over here, right? Everybody see this, guys? 153 level pre-market. The high was put in roughly at 5 o'clock. Not a lot of volume there, obviously, but a high is a high is a high. And people ask me all the time, do pre-market and after hours candles matter? Absolutely, they matter. Again, I say this all the time. As much data, right? As much data you can gather, the biggest, the better of an opinion, the better of a risk adverse trade you could put on. So 153 was the pre-market high. It broke that 153 and just went out of its mind. Put up a $7 candle on Lululemon. Eventually, actually went higher. A big my for those of you guys who caught that. Great job. But here is the sneaky. Again, here is where my experience has come along. The chart on Tesla was dead. Okay, the chart on Tesla was dead, especially the previous day. And if you guys remember, what happened was the previous day that the Trump headline came out that he is, I guess the headline was he was sanctioning $200 billion worth of tariffs. You guys remember that? And the market went down, the Dow went down like 180 points. And here was, again, when we talk about, and especially for new aspiring traders, why it's so important to watch order flow. Okay, when the market went down 180 points, Tesla never went down. Matter of fact, not only did Tesla not go down, right? Matter of fact, not only did Tesla not go down, but if you look at the previous day, right? If you look at the previous day, this is the previous day right here, right? Tesla actually put up a $3 candle, right? Actually put up a $3 candle as the market was getting weaker and weaker. So the next day, which was Friday, I turned around and say, hey, look, watch that 303.50 level. It could dead cat bounce, right? It could get dead cat bounce. Now, why was 303.50 the important level here? If you look at the high right over here, right? If you look at the 3 o'clock high here from Thursday, the high right here, let me just make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see it, right? You can see it right here. The high right here was 303.45, right? 303.45, and it stopped perfectly on supply. So for this stock to dead cat, it would need to take out that 303.45. And again, if you believe in the theory that stocks trade from supply to supply, the reason why it stopped at 33.50 because it ran into a sloping supply zone. Again, you have to understand where technical sellers meet emotional buyers, and this is a perfect place, and the stock got rejected. So if you bought it up here, you lost money. You lost money. It's so crucial to understand where these stocks stop, and we talked about this in nausea, okay, in the PS60 workshop, in nausea in the live webinar, because everybody has to know exactly where all the bodies are placed before you start, allocating your money into risk. So we knew, again, we talked about this pre-market. We talked about the 926 pre-market, watching the 303.50 build, could dead cat bounce. And again, if you trade Tesla, like I trade Tesla all the time, you know when this thing gets going, it's a rocket ship. And look what happened, guys. Look what happened. This thing takes out 303.50. And again, look at the candle. Look, the candle goes up to 305 and change. And again, somebody's just around and say, well, what's the big deal? It's only $2. Again, when was the last time that you can take a trade and you get a $2 candle within 3 minutes or 2 minutes, sometimes a minute and a half, 3 minutes? The reason why we trade beta, again, I say this all the time, it's highly predictable, okay, because it's not represented in retail. People are not looking for value down here, okay? They're not looking for value. If you're trading the 1 minute or 5 minute channels, you cannot see how clean this was because you're not looking for it. Again, it's like putting a child, I say this all the time, if you put in a child, okay, in the most luxurious high performance vehicle, okay, they will crash the car because they don't know how to operate the car. They don't know the dangers of, a mistake. When you're trading, it's exactly the same way. If nobody's ever sat you down and said, hey, this is a supply zone, nobody knows about these supply zones because nobody is exposed to them, and they're there, that's a huge advantage. And when these candles and these channels get confirmed, again, if you believe in the stocks that trade from supply to supply, look where Tesla stops. Right, guys? Again, I say this in the webinar, and I say this all the time. I said this in the workshop. Again, this isn't the cartoon, the Roadrunner, Roadrunner's looking above and the Wile E. Coyote's dropping an anvil, and the anvil kind of stops in midair and goes back up. Stocks don't stop randomly. There's an area of interest where emotional buyers meet technical sellers and vice versa. And again, here's a perfect example. Tesla explodes, catch the trade, great trade, really, really great trade, very, very fast, and it stops perfectly on supply, and it goes right back down. Again, emotional buyers meet technical sellers. So it's absolutely crucial. So if you are putting on 50% of your trades and they're working, if you can just, I'm telling you right now, just try this for 2 weeks. Try this for a 2-week period. It has nothing to do with me. You don't need to trade with me. If you want to trade with me, you could trade with me. But I'm telling you right now, if you extend your view to a 60-minute interval versus a 1-minute channel, I promise you, you're going to see surprisingly great results. So let's get into tomorrow, right? Let's get into tomorrow's action. The funny thing is when you have a 3-day weekend, it almost feels like a 3-month weekend. It almost feels like 3 months you're not trading. Again, just a technical view here on NASDAQ 100. Again, market's going up. What's there to talk about? What's there to digest? SPY is again very, very strong. As long as they maintain that five-day moving average. Again, that 5-day moving average doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people, but it does for me because again, it represents short-term sentiment. As you can see by the bullish echo of the stock market, you can see every single time the SPYs hit this orange line, which is the 5-day, they spiked up, spiked up, spiked up, spiked up. They reclaimed the 5-day moving average on Friday. So again, until we start closing below the 5-day, below the 10-day, which we talk about at the birth of the trade, we've covered this again so many times. You have to assume the market is again delta neutral to bullish until all the players come back from vacation. So let's talk about some pivots for Monday. Let's talk about some pivots for Monday. I'm not going to give you guys all of them, but let's talk about some pivots that I do like. Look at Boeing. Look at Boeing, right? So Boeing had this really aggressive, and excuse me, I apologize. I just don't remember who it was. Somebody put out a very aggressive price target on Boeing right down here and had this really big 5-day run. If you notice what happened in the last week or so, despite the market, and the Dow was up a percent, Boeing sold off every single day, right? And it's holding on to this last support zone. If Boeing can reclaim, right, on the downside, if it could reclaim this 341 level, you do have a downward channel all the way down to 335, 331 level. So definitely keep an eye on Boeing. Again, and I say this all the time, you don't need to overthink sometimes. When the market is strong and the Dow component is weak and it keeps on getting weaker and weaker as the market's getting stronger and stronger, again, it's not a bullish sign. There's something wrong there. So I want to keep an eye on Boeing. If it starts building below this 341.50, 341 area, especially for your option players, you might want to take some sort of view on this thing, maybe a longer view. But it could fall down to this 335, 331 level. So keep an eye on Boeing. Yelp, I've been waiting for this Yelp now to kind of take off now for about 2 weeks. Okay, and it's having a hard time for whatever reason. It's still a huge short interest. It sold off the initial monster run, and now it's just kind of flagging here. It's just kind of flagging on this 5-day run. I want to watch this thing somewhere around this 4750 area. Okay, somewhere around this 4750 area, because if this thing does ignite, okay, it does have initial room to this 4880s, and then if this thing really starts cooking, you could get a move all the way back to the 5150, assuming again that the market continues its strong ways of trading. So I want to keep an eye on Yelp. A couple of Chinese names beaten down, obviously. Baidu have seen better days, but Friday it finally put up this fat green candle. Okay, it's really, really thick candle, and you can see here it got rejected here off the last couple of times off this 150-day moving average. If it could just reclaim 227.50, 228, there is room to 231.60. So I want to keep an eye on that. And Alibaba, again, very, very unusual action. Very good company that I think is going to be phenomenal in the next 3-4 years. It just can't get out of its own way and it can't reclaim. I want to see some signs of it finally stabilizing. And I think the early signs at any point for us to kind of get a trend reversal, if they start building above this 178 level, again, and there's nothing imminent, but just for all you guys who are out there who are fans of Alibaba, look, the big move obviously needs to get above this 187, but just kind of taking baby steps. If they could just reclaim this 178 area, I think you get a first move to like 182, 183. So keep an eye on Alibaba. What else do I want to talk about here? NVIDIA. NVIDIA looks great. NVIDIA looks good. I think just for a trade, you can see here, just for a trade here, how it's setting up here. You can see how tight this channel is. If it could just reclaim and confirm this channel, you might get a really fast, aggressive move. So I want to keep an eye on NVIDIA. And, Tesla, look, Tesla has a two-sided trade. It really does. It has, look how tight it's getting, guys. Tesla is getting super, super tight. What we're either looking below this like 297 level, right? Below this 297 or above this 306. You really don't have to think too much, okay? You just write these levels down. 297.72 is the low here. And right here, you see is 305.70 top here, 305.30 the top here. If you can reclaim 306 or reclaim 297, there's your move. There's your move. 306 gets it to 309, maybe 311. And 297 probably gets you down. There's a shot. It could get you down to this 285 level as well. And remember, guys, these pivots have no bias. There's absolutely no bias in these names. I have no bias in these names. I'll trade, for the first 3-4 days I was trading Tesla short, and Friday I traded long. It doesn't make a difference to me. Again, I say this all the time. When the stock is going higher, I don't care if the next model comes out with 3 wheels, no steering wheel, and no seats. The stock is still going to be there. And again, now that we know there is no private tokens, apparently the funds weren't secured, well, you kind of know it's kind of here to stay. So guys, have an incredible trading week. For all you guys who want to test drive the PS60, we do offer a 1-month trial. We do offer a 1-month trial. It's only $97. It's the live webinar is great. It really is great. It's all about individual work. I work with everybody. I don't charge anybody any extra. I speak to people all the time after the close, before the close. There's tons of information, tons of content. And the most important part is we're trying to create traders. We're not trying to get people who buy or sell stocks. We're trying to create traders. For those of you guys who want to watch the PS60 workshop, it's available. I'm sure there will be a link provided here in which the live webinar is included complimentary in that purchase of the workshop. So guys, have an awesome Labor Day. Get some barbecue, get some sun, get some swimming done, because again, the next 6 months, we know what's happening here in the Northeast. Guys, God bless. I wish to see you all tomorrow. And with God's help, we'll see you all there.